Hi there, I'm Amanda Cromhote from Truth. Welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge. We interview world experts in loyalty blindly. We're hoping to create insight, spontaneity, and a lot of fun through the challenge. The challenge is about promoting the blind loyalty trust, and my book called Blind Loyalty, 101 Loyalty Concepts Radically Simplified. All profits from the book go towards the trust. We hope you enjoy the Blind Loyalty Challenge. Here we are with another Blind Loyalty Challenge, and I have the absolute pleasure today to chat to another Brit, but he's also not in the UK. So Phil Gunter, you're the co-founder of Loyalty Status Co., which is the company behind Status Match, which I don't think needs much introduction. So thanks for taking up the Blind Loyalty Challenge, Phil.
I'm excited to do it.
Awesome. You were nominated by Phil Hawkins, and he was a lot of fun to interview, so I'm looking forward to this. So straight into it, what is your personal worst mistake in loyalty in your career?
Ooh, my personal worst mistake was when I had the bright idea to have a roll-in status window where every day it looked back a year and it's seeing what did they do in the year and have they done enough to earn the next tier. And it's one of those things, brilliant in concept, really fair. I was absolutely obsessed with the unfairness of all the other ways. Because if it's a calendar year, what if you do it, you do a lot of stuff at the end of the year, it gets set to zero, you do stuff in January. I just found it unfair, right? So I got quite obsessed about the fairness of this rolling window, drove it through. It was an absolute bugger to build. And then, it really was not very easy to build. But then when it went live, it was an absolute nightmare to communicate to customers, because all the time you're doing two things. You're looking backwards to see have they done enough to get the next tier up, and at the same time you're looking from their renewal date to see have they done enough to retain. Right. So it's one of those things where if I'd really thought it through, I'd have realized it was the downside was worse than the upside, that there's better way. Well, I don't think there is a better way. They've all got their pros and cons.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the most important thing that customers understand it. And on this one, it was super fair, super generous. There's a lot more generous in all the other ways, which was part of the sort of plan. And yet a real nightmare to explain. It's still there. I've seen other people copy it. I put my head in my hands, and but that's that. I think that's the worst thing I've done.
Brilliant. I love it. I love the honesty. Thank you. Brilliant. But I love what you say, like in principle, the fairest option for the customer, the actual customer experience, and the simplicity of it was just beyond understanding. So awesome. That's awesome. What a great example. So still sticking with travel, I don't think you need any introduction with your travel experience. What is your favorite travel loyalty innovation?
Oh. So I'll tell you, well, it's all the stuff at Virgin, but Virgin did a couple of things when I was there. Right? The big stuff, which is famous, was I say we because it was a team effort, but we did the revenue accrual and a dynamic burn and made it work. So Ernie Zine had done it before, screwed it up. And we did it, put a different commercial model behind it, made it work, and then went out to the whole world and said, you're all going to copy this. And I love the fact that at the time, everyone thought we were mad. It's easy to forget how far the world's come in like 15 years.
Yeah.
But the world thought we were genuinely mad. And all the old crusties were there telling me that it will never be anything but points per mile. They wouldn't get on a plane unless you were in at least 1 point per mile right down the back and all that sort of stuff. And it was interesting to see how over time the ice started to melt, and then all of a sudden it became the new. But what's really interesting is this: we were doing it first, right? And we were able to learn. In a Virgin world, you can try stuff. If it doesn't work, you can change it. right? You get a
Yeah.
huge permission to try and fail. And a lot of the stuff we did wasn't great. Right? And what I find fascinating now, I see a lot of airlines around the world copying what we did first and sticking with it. And so I know some of the problems of it. Right? What I don't know is whether they know that yet. So it's interesting to see. Yeah, but that's not what. Can I give you as part B as well? Because
Of
that was the
course.
kind of stuff, right? But at the same time, we did a lot of stuff which was just humanistic, right? Humanistic stuff. So we treated families with respect, right? I've got 3 kids. I hate the fact that every time I went, it was for everything for 2. Everything's designed so that if you've got 3 kids, they can get the benefits too. The first thing we ever did was made it so that if you die, that your next of kin can have your points. Right, so it's such a simple thing, but that's because feedback from people telling me that this was an actual conversation. Someone coming in like in tears saying her father was dying, and one of the things he's stressed about is losing all his Qantas points. And
Oh,
she
wow.
begged me. She said, "Bill, don't make that Virgin be like that." Right, so that's one of the first things we did. If you die, then your next of kin rings up. We can have your points.
Wow, that's incredible. I don't actually know how many companies do that, because normally they expire, right? Immediately.
Well, most of them still
Not
do.
expire, yeah,
But here's the
exactly.
thing, right? And Qantas changed it like 6 months ago and finally got around to it. Here's the thing: most of them still expire, right? So it really doesn't cost you anything. But that 1% or 3% of people that ring up, that have taken the time to ring up, then you turn a horrible time into not so bad. Otherwise, you're just kicking them during a horrible time. It's a horrible call for the call center. There's no good that comes from that. And we literally went around trying to find all these little things which the industry did and try to correct them. So parental leave, so you can take parental leave, man and female. The pooling. We did loads of stuff which was designed with economic sound, but designed to be more human.
Lovely. I love that. Be more human. There you go. That's a strapline.
There you go.
The last question, Phil, this is not difficult for you because I actually quoted in Blind Loyalty. So in chapter 54, the title of the chapter is "Does Redemption Really Change Behavior?"
Mm-hmm. Oh,
what do you on that?
So the reason I go is because I've seen plenty of evidence both ways, and there is. But sometimes you've got to understand, like go a bit deeper in the analysis. So sometimes people dump and run, right? That's so when you analyze this stuff, you've got to identify the dump and runs because that's going to happen anyway, right? But it's also true that people are in loyalty programs so they can get stuff, and when you do get stuff, and it works the same in tiering, when you get tiering, then you are more engaged, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. So I think redemptions does drive more engagement, which does drive more activity, and makes it more healthy. So the programs, a healthy program, should be designed so that the program welcomes redemption.
Lovely.
And you shouldn't need breakage. If breakage happens, okay, but you should welcome redemption because it's why we exist.
Yeah, I love that. I'm actually going to quote that line: "A healthy program welcomes redemption." The quote from chapter 54 is actually your debate with Ian and Dave Canty with the Loyalty podcast. So it's such an interesting debate because you all had different views, and then I played it out in the chapter 54. So it was an amazing chapter. It wasn't difficult to write because I just listened to you guys and then translated it in. So
the challenge I find with all these like questions is the same when you go into when you're at a conference, someone asks you a question. That so often the context is important, and it's so easy to. That's one of the reasons I worry about people listening to experts when it's just generic, because it's so easy to take something out of context and give bad advice. So one of the things I always say is, unless you're talking to you about a specific thing, it's not advice, it's opinion. So I can give you my opinion on it.
Yeah, love it. All right. Well, we've had your opinion on three amazing topics, so thank you. So who would you like to set up for the next challenge?
The guy I'm going to recommend or ask is I think one of the absolute gods of the industry, and yet he sails under the radar quite a lot. So to me, there's a real unique insight you get from running a program, right? And especially a frequent flyer program, you've got all the levers. There's very few jobs in the world where you have all the levers, and running a frequent flyer program, you do. And this individual has ran 3 airline programs on 3 continents. New Zealand, UK, and now in Asia. I've yet to come across anybody that comes anywhere close to his depth or his breadth of experience. And all the way through. Oh, and on top of that, he was one of the key people behind Qantas's sort of, I wouldn't say evolution, but massive growth from being a frequent flyer program to being one of the world's best loyalty businesses. Right? So
Come on, Phil, who are you talking about?
not only has he done everything you could tick a box, but he's also done it successfully, and he's an absolute superstar bloke as well. Right. So I'm recommending Paul Smidden, and if you don't know Paul, you should take the time to know him if he's got the time. Because he's got a huge job now. He runs Asia Miles, but he also runs the whole lifestyle, all non-air business lines for a cafe. So he's got a huge job, but he deserves it. He's a brilliant bloke. So you'll enjoy it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's hope we can squeeze 10 minutes out of his diary. Sounds like I don't know how we're going to fit all that in 10 minutes, but we'll have to find some great questions for him. You're an absolute star, Phil. I knew chatting to you would be a goodie. So thank you so much. Thank you for doing the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
No, you're welcome.